Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute honor to be able to stand here before you today. I would like to deliver a speech entitled Towards Jakarta 500, Reading Today, Leading the Future. Now, before I begin to deliver my speech, I'd like for us to be more familiar with each other. My name is Aisha Fuady, and I am from Islamic Senior High School 12 in West Jakarta. Now, did you know that Indonesia's founding leaders were among the most well-read individuals of their time? They built a whole nation out of the ideas that they found in books. Yet today, in a city overflowing with instant information, we read less than the generations before us. And as we head towards Jakarta 500, let's think to ourselves, who will actually be equipped to solve our city's biggest challenges? Is it the people who consume fast noise? Or is it the people who take the time to think, read, and lead? Now, 500 years may seem like a really long time, but behind every great city, there's a single story. And before Jakarta was known as the busy capital that we know of today, it was called Sunda Kelapa. And it was a small but important port where people from all sorts of places came together. Not only did they exchange goods and spices, but they also exchanged cultures, languages, and most importantly, ideas. As time went on, Jakarta became Batavia and eventually became the city that we know and love today. So you might think that Jakarta hasn't just been built by just buildings, but also by people and the ideas that they bring. Now that is where reading comes in. Long before we had smartphones, search engines, and even artificial intelligence, knowledge traveled through mediums like books and newspapers, and even libraries. Reading was one of the most powerful ways for a generation to pass on ideas to the next. And as we all know, behind every great breakthrough is a person who is learning something new and curious enough to think, what if things could be better? I've always loved reading, and books are a way to explore new places that I've never been to, understand new people that I've never met, and experience lives that are completely different from my own. And that is why I think reading is so special, because not only does it fill our minds with information, but it also changes the way we think. It teaches us to look beyond our own experiences. And in a world that is easy for us to judge a person from just headlines or short videos, reading teaches us that there are more than just one side to a story. And that is why I think literacy is much more than just the ability to read words on a page. It is also the ability to understand, to reflect, and to think critically. And in a city as diverse as Jakarta, where millions of people from different backgrounds with different opinions live together, those things are not just useful skills, they're essentials. Now, when people stop reading, not only do they lose information, they also lose curiosity. And when a person loses curiosity, they lose the ability to innovate. And as we all know, of course, behind innovations, there is a person who is curious enough and brave enough to want more, to want to know more, and ask questions. Because if we want to lead a city that is successful in the future, we have to be the ones asking the question. Now, here's the problem. We live in an era with more information than the generations before us. Every single day, we scroll through countless posts, short videos, and headlines that disappear as quickly as they appear. Now, we consume information just as fast. So, how often do we stop to think and actually understand it or even learn from it? Now, that is where reading is still needed. Reading is really important because reading teaches us patience in a world that's moving way too fast. It teaches us to separate between facts from opinions. And now, walking towards Jakarta 500, we have to normalize being curious, wanting to know more, because it'll help us from small changes. For example, someone who isn't used to reading, starting to read books. Even if it's a small change, it can really impact the future. And as the generation who will witness Jakarta's 500th anniversary, I think that is what we need to do so we could change Jakarta's future for the better. Well, that is all I have to say today. I apologize if any of my words happen to offend or upset anyone. I have made sure that my intentions were clear and good from the start. Have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.